Hi there, it's Lukasz for the Tech Travel Geeks, and this is our long-term review of the POCO M4 Pro 5G by Xiaomi. We received the review sample from Xiaomi UK back in November, and I've been using it for over 3 months now. So I wanted to share my detailed review with you, having taken over 200 photos and videos, and having played over 40 games on this device. The build quality is quite good. The back is plastic, but it's matte, so it's very good at keeping fingerprints away. There are a few colors to pick from, and I wish I got the POCO yellow one to review, as it definitely stands out from the crowd. The Power Black, which to me is more of a dark grey color, depending on the light in the room, is still quite nice though. Overall, the device feels quite slick. As is common with POCO phones, the POCO branding is quite prominent, in this case next to the camera unit. However, the strangest part of the design is the set camera bump. From afar, it appears that there are 5 or 4 plus flash cameras, but it's actually just 2 cameras, and 2 bottom circles are just red dot and an AI label. So it looks like you're sporting a phone with lots of cameras, but instead of the depth sensor and the macro sensor, which our friend Miriam refers to as sticker cameras, you get actual stickers instead. I'll leave it up to you to decide what to think about it. More about the cameras later in the video. On the positive side, I like the fact that it's rated IP53 for splash and dust resistance, so it should be fine in a bit of rain, just don't put it under running water. Please also bear in mind that the phone is quite large, so if you're looking for a small and handy phone, it might not be your first choice. That's mostly due to the 6.6-inch screen that's the main focus of this device. It's an LCD one, so don't expect the higher quality of OLED displays, but I found it quite good for enjoying watching content on it. It's a Full HD Plus 1080p display, and it fully supports Netflix's 1080p viewing, which is great to see. However, there's no HDR support, but that's to be expected in a budget device like this. The screen brightness is decent, but I didn't really feel the screen to pop properly. However, you can choose the color scheme, either vivid, which is the default, saturated, or standard. That's always good to see. It's also great to see a 90Hz refresh rate at this price range. Granted, there's no variable frame rate, so switching to it will drain your battery faster, but it's definitely smoother like this, so I've kept it at 90Hz at most times myself. Speaking of the battery, it's definitely one of the highlights, clocking in at 5000 mAh. The battery keeps charged easily for the entire day, and I had no problems with it. What's more, there's a 33-watt charger included in the box, so you'll be able to fill it from empty in around an hour. I was really impressed by that. There's no wireless charging, but again, that's to be expected for this type of a device. The battery life is helped by the quite efficient MediaTek Dimensity 810 system on a chip that's built in the 6nm manufacturing process. I found the performance to be quite good, especially when gaming. Please check my review of the Moga Games controller, which we released recently. I tested over 40 games and some emulators using this phone, and all the games worked really well. The only one that showed a bit of a slowdown was Street Fighter 4 for some reason, but it was still playable. All the other games also played really well. Don't expect the highest frame rate, as it's still a mid-range device, but it's a good experience altogether. As an example, for Call of Duty you can set the graphic quality up to medium and the frame rate to either medium, which is the default, or high. I played it on high and it worked quite well. However, I have felt the screen and the system to have some slowdowns when I was using it, especially in the newsfeed. When scrolling, it sometimes felt a bit slower than I'd expect, and it doesn't feel like it's scrolling far enough. Not sure if that's due to the screen or the processor though, and it's the only issue I've encountered when it comes to the performance. Otherwise, I've been really happy with how the phone performs. The POCO M4 Pro 5G comes with either 4 or 6 GB of memory. In my case it was 6 GB, and it was definitely enough for me. It also comes in 64 or 128 GB of storage options, and again I had the larger 128 GB version. I tried really hard to use up all the storage with a lot of games, but I still had a lot of space left to play with. Even without removing unused games or any of the junk apps we'll discuss in a moment. And that doesn't even include the fact that the phone supports micro SD cards, which can expand the storage significantly. I used the 16GB card, but never ended up having to use it. It's great to have the option though. You shouldn't really worry about storage on this device. As you can guess by the name, the POCO M4 Pro 5G supports 5G connectivity, so assuming that the coverage in your area is good, you'll be able to access the fastest network connectivity you can get. It's great to see that devices as affordable as this one have 5G support, especially that it has dual SIM slots, so you can even have it on dual 5G standby. I was happy to see NFC support on this device as well. It's always good to be able to pay wirelessly. However, there's no Wi-Fi 6 support, so we'll have to make do with Wi-Fi 5 instead. On the plus side, the phone has an IR blaster, which allows you to control devices like TVs using infrared, which is always great for traveling when you don't want to touch that nasty hotel remote. When it comes to software, the phone uses Xiaomi's MIUI 12.5, which is a very mature operating system right now. It's based on Android 11, but should hopefully be updated to MIUI 13 and Android 12 around March or May time. Fingers crossed. As of the end of January, the phone is still on the November 2021 software update, which is a bit behind, but the phone is still receiving updates, so let's hope this continues. One thing to note about software is that the phone is quite bloated, with around 23GB of storage used out of the box. This can be painful if you get the 64GB version. It comes with a lot of random games like Dust Settle, Jewels Blast or Bubble Shooter, entertainment apps like Netflix, Amazon Music or TikTok, and social apps like LinkedIn or Facebook. You can uninstall them yourself, but it's a bit much. Plus, you sometimes get different ads, especially after installing new apps through the Google Play Store, which isn't ideal. However, it's not a huge problem, at least it's not something that bothered me too much while using this device. Plus, I really like MIUI, with all the customizations and features it provides, like the split notifications bar or the automated app drawer categories, so to me, the software is definitely a plus. But let's come to one of my favorite features of this device, the fingerprint scanner. Unlike the unreliable in-screen readers in even more expensive devices like the Google Pixel 6 Pro, the POCO comes with a side-mounted fingerprint scanner, and I really love it. It's extremely fast and easy to use, with very little delay, and for me it works every time, which is something I can't really say about other devices. In addition to that, the phone also supports face unlock, which also works quite well, no problems there either. When it comes to audio, it's good to see that the phone has dual speakers, both at the top and at the bottom. Too bad they're not fully symmetrical though, not just when it comes to the position, but also to the loudness. In this case, the bottom facing speaker is quite a bit louder than the top one. Overall, the audio is quite loud and the quality is decent, but don't expect to be blown away by the bass or the highest clarity. Still, for this type of device, I was quite impressed, and it's definitely enough for watching YouTube videos or listening to some songs from time to time. For longer music sessions, it's best to use headphones, and luckily the phone has a carriage port, also known as the 3.5mm audio jack. I was happy to check the Bose QC45 headphones, no problems here. Similarly, all good with phone and WhatsApp calls. Finally, let's get to my favorite section, cameras. Initially, I was happy to see that they focused on just two cameras on the back. A 50MP main camera and 8MP ultra-wide sounded good on paper, and I was looking forward to checking it out. Unfortunately, this is where the biggest weakness of this phone is. While I understand that I shouldn't expect the highest quality of photos from a phone at this price point, I was at least expecting photos in focus. Unfortunately, many of the photos I took were completely out of focus, especially when it was just a landscape with no subject. Just check some of those photos. Nothing is really in focus. The photos come up blurry and washed out. For example, looking at this statue in Edinburgh, neither the statue, cable, nor the castle are in focus. Maybe it's the grass at the very front? I'm not really sure. When there's a person, some of the photos came out quite nicely, both with and without portrait mode. And quite a few of the photos of my girlfriend in the rain came out really nice. For moving subjects, like my girlfriend's sister's dog Amigo, it was also quite tricky to capture him, especially since he's always on the run. But I did manage to capture a couple of nice photos when he was standing still. Happy days. There is a night mode and it does brighten the scene, but it also tends to move the colors to one hue, like red in this case. But it worked better in some other shots, like this tunnel. And especially this Santa's sleigh photo, where yes, some blacks become red at the top of the photo, but at least the overexposed parts of the sleigh and the reindeer become much cleaner, especially the black lines on the sleigh and the reindeer, so the night mode photo is more usable in this case. Switching to the 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera, I actually had more luck with photos in focus. They somehow didn't lose focus as much as the main camera. Even the aforementioned fountain looked better in the ultra-wide shot than the main camera shot. No idea why. I can't say those are the best ultra-wide photos I've taken. Getting a 12 megapixel camera would have been better probably, but I was quite happy to get some decent shots. The 13 megapixel selfie is alright, nothing exciting, but works as expected. Plus it has portrait mode as well, which works quite well. Just don't expect great photos in darkness. For video recording, I made a full video about it. Make sure to check it out in the top right corner. It unfortunately doesn't offer 4K video recording and can record either 30 or 60 frames per second in Full HD, but the 60 frames per second mode doesn't offer electronic image stabilization. While the stabilization isn't too bad, the image quality unfortunately isn't the best, especially here in Scotland where we don't have the best lighting conditions in the winter and when it's raining, which seems to make the videos quite mushy. It's similar for both the main and ultra-wide lenses unfortunately. The front-facing camera meanwhile tops up at 1080p at 30 frames per second. Overall, I'm a bit split on this phone. On one hand, I like the way it looks, maybe minus the two stickers masquerading as cameras on the back. The large screen is great for enjoying YouTube and some Netflix on it, with the extra benefit of the headphone jack making it an even better media device. I was also happy with the performance, including gaming, which is great for this price point. Plus, it has 5G, if that's important for you. Not to mention the fantastic side-mounted fingerprint scanner, which beats most flagship phones every time. Unfortunately, camera performance is very important for me, and I was rather disappointed by it, as mentioned a moment ago. That's why the M4 Pro 5G wouldn't be my choice for main device. I'd always want to have a better camera phone with me. If, however, it's not your priority, you should enjoy this phone if you get it at a good price. And what's the price? At the time of writing, at the end of January 2022, you can get the highest spec POCO M4 Pro 5G from around £219 on Amazon and from £171 on AliExpress, if you don't mind waiting a few weeks to get it delivered from China. That's it for this long-term review of the POCO M4 Pro 5G. Please leave us a like if you enjoyed it, add a comment if you have any thoughts or questions, and make sure to subscribe to see more videos from us. But for now, thanks for watching.